This is the June 8th Conservation Commission meeting. Charlene and Virginia, Charlene and Lorraine, are you guys aboard? I hope. I think I see Lorraine up in the corner there. Lorraine, can you just say yay or nay or something? Lorraine? Charlene? Okay, well, in this room, we have Virginia, Ron, and Doug. And I know Lorraine's on because I see her on the screen. Maybe she's having audio issues. Charlene's a question mark, but I'm assuming that she's with Lorraine right now. Okay, so if everybody could, we have 2 sets of minutes to read. We have the minutes from April 13th. And we have the minutes from May 11th. If everybody could take a minute and read those, and hopefully by that time, Lorraine and Charlene can chime in.
We're here, but we don't have any minutes.
Oh,
All right.
Lorraine, I emailed them over to you last night. Did you not get it?
No, I didn't get them. I didn't get an email last night.
okay. Well, you don't have to read the minutes. We'll table that to the next meeting.
I keep voting.
That's okay. So Virginia's here, Ron's here, Doug's here, Lorraine's here, and Charlene are all here. So we have a full board tonight. We'll get into the projects. The first one is 287 Concord Street. I believe this hearing is already open, and I believe there was some questions. Marty, do you know where we're at here?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Marty Nova with the Beta Group. We were actually just waiting on the DEP file number, which was issued with comments. And at the last hearing, I told the commission that I would have a draft order ready for discussion tonight once the hearing is closed, which I have provided Carrie. She has that.
Okay.
We can take a look.
Okay. Do I have that?
Yeah, I sent it via email.
That's the Shingle Mill one I got here.
Yeah, a while back, but I just sent it again tonight.
Okay. Did we already close the hearing?
No,
Terry? Okay. So, if everybody remembers this one, it's a small addition off the left-hand back corner of the house, I believe. I did receive an email on this from a neighbor. They had some concerns about flooding, whatnot. I explained to them that's not really something that's in our purview. Basically, all we're doing is reviewing the project for the wetland impacts or potential wetland impacts. So do you have any further comments on this, Marty, or are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Ken, are we good?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. I know we got some additional information on some dry wells.
Yeah, there was a concern off the, I guess, left-hand side of the house near the wetlands. They were discharging through a pipe and down the slope. So NDS has this formula, you plug it all in. It's going to take 2 chambers for that piece of the roof line on the existing house and part of the new addition. And then a second one for a second set of 2 for the carport and the addition.
Okay.
And I had the architectural drawing, so length of roof and all that was easy to figure out
Okay.
and play. And you have a spec there for the units.
Yep. I got them right in front of me. Thank you. Thank you for providing that.
No worries.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions? I'll go around the room. I don't. Ron, do you have any questions? Virginia, you have any questions?
It's nice to see it up close.
Lorraine, Charlene, do you guys have any questions on this
Yeah,
one?
I'm just wondering if the information that the gentleman just gave, is that Ken Thompson that just gave
Yes.
that information? Yeah. Has
Yep.
that been taken into consideration into the paperwork that Marty was going to put in?
Yes,
Because we had originally said that the solid door is going to be within the 25 buffer zone, and we okayed that only for the erosion controls, and it is to be brought back when this project is finished. So just want to make sure that that's all incorporated in the paperwork that Marty has for us.
Yes, Lorraine, it has. As a matter of fact, yeah, I included in the draft order for the commission's consideration that they provide the dry well specs, which they have. I don't think that the applicant would have a problem with leaving that in since they've already provided it. But we state in the draft order as a special condition that, the access to the work is around, is away from the wetland, and that mitigation's been provided for the work in the 25-foot no disturb, but they provided mitigation for that. And the fact that the commission felt that the 25-foot no disturb on the site was already improved with a house and it's adjacent lawn area, and therefore with the mitigation that they're providing, the dry wells, and the fact that they're going to keep the work away from that area, that would be sufficient for the commission to determine that work in the inner 25 wouldn't have an adverse impact on the wetlands. So it's in our findings.
Charlene, Lorraine, I'm not looking at you guys, but are you guys good or? Besides that, obviously,
Yeah, we're
I'm
good.
fine.
okay. Does anybody in the audience have any questions that's on this project? Concerns, anything? Okay, so, you okay, Jesus, I can't even talk. Closing the hearing, are you okay with that, Ken?
Yes,
Okay, for the board, motion to
Yes.
close the hearing
Yes.
on 287 Concord Street?
So moved.
Okay,
Second,
so-
Second.
Okay, so that's Lorraine and Virginia, and it's unanimous. Close the hearing. Marty, you said you had a draft order. I don't have that in front of me. I don't know
Right.
why, but just too many emails.
Yeah, right. I sent it to Carrie. Maybe she can share it and the commission can look at it.
Can you, you mind going over, just a couple of the finer points of it?
I can read it too. Let's see, I have it up on my screen. Let's see.
You don't have to read it cover to cover, just go over the. finer
Okay,
points.
sure. I'll actually read the findings.
Thank you.
Sure. A notice of intent was filed by Ian and Stephen Carroll on April 21st, 2021. The Rockland Conservation Commission voted to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions approving the proposed work on June 8th, 2021. The parcel of land subject to this order is located at 287 Concord Street in Rockland, Mass, further identified as Rockland Assessors Parcel 57-48-0. The site is bounded to the north and west by residential properties, to the east by Concord Street, and to the south by a wooded tract of land. Existing improvements at the site include a single-family dwelling, a bituminous driveway, a deck, and main lawn. Areas subject to protection and jurisdiction, as well as the town of Rockland Wetlands Protection Bylaw that exists at the site include bordering vegetated wetland, banked intermittent stream, and buffer zone. Resource area boundaries shown on the plan of record were confirmed as accurate. Off-site resource area boundaries were not delineated and not confirmed through the issuance of this order. Proposed work approved on this order consists of the following: demolition of a portion of an existing deck, construction of a carport, construction of an addition on a slab at grade foundation, installation of a dry well to collect roof runoff, and construction of a new basement access, collectively the project. The project will occur within the Act/bylaw 100-foot buffer to BBW Bank, as well as the bylaw 25-foot no disturb zone. The Rockland Conservation Commission issued a waiver permitting work within the 25-foot no disturb as shown on the plan of records through the issuance of this order. The commission determined that the work in the 25-foot no disturb zone was to take place in existing lawn area and therefore no further impacts to the adjacent resource areas would result. However, the applicant is required to complete mitigation activities as outlined in special condition D9. I can go down to D9. I'll just highlight some of the special conditions aside from your
Normal ones.
yeah, so no buffer zone alteration, temporary or permanent is permitted other than that allowed by this order and depicted on the final plans. This order does not approve any alterations, temporary or permanent, to resource areas. A detail of the proposed dry well shall be submitted to the commission for approval prior to commencing the work, which they did today or earlier. The following mitigation shall occur concurrently with the work associated with the project: removal of organic debris within and around bordering vegetated wetland boundary, removal of the landscape timber at the southerly invert of the reinforced concrete pipe, and abandonment of the roof drain discharge into the BVW. And those are just, and the rest are just your normal
Run of the mill stuff.
run-of-the-mill standard conditions,
Okay.
special conditions.
Okay, so does the board have any questions on the orders?
Next time we're going to, we can dump it at,
Dry wells.
or dry wells, then they'll go.
You have the spec right here for the dry wells. Charlene and Lorraine, because you guys did not get the copies of this, you okay with what Marty just outlined? Just want to make sure you're okay with it before we vote on it.
Yeah, Charlene's an okay.
Yep,
Okay.
Lorraine's
Right.
okay.
Okay, so, motion from the board to issue the order of conditions for 287 Market Street.
So
I
moved.
So
mean-
moved.
Good.
Okay, so that's Virginia and Lorraine, I believe. And it's a unanimous vote. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll print those out and sign those per our special Zoom meeting signing thing that we have. Anyway, that's over after this meeting, thank God. Okay, so you're all set, Ken?
Thank you very much.
Those will be signed tomorrow and we'll send them out to you. Are we all set on, Secretary? We all set on finances on this project?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, so I'll sign those tomorrow, Ken, and move on from there.
All right, everybody, nice to see you all and have a good summer.
You too.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. So I know for Shingle Mill, actually, I won't even address the Shingle Mill thing right now. For anybody who's on the Zoom meeting for Dyer Street, there's two NOIs in front of us. Both of them are continued until July 13th. For anybody on the hearing right now, just so you know, that was actually posted, I believe, with the agenda when it was posted. Correct, Gary?
Yes, that was added to the agenda.
Okay. So we tried to save everybody the time to come to this meeting because it was a continuance was requested, I believe, last Wednesday. I'm pretty sure. So anyway, Dyer Street's being continued until July 13th for anybody who's here. All right, last on the agenda, the Shingle Mill project. So we have two NOIs in front of us. One is for the project itself. One is for the pump test. Maybe the applicant can explain or whatever. Are we hearing the project tonight? Are we discussing it? Or are we just discussing the pump test?
We'd like to continue, this is Mike Toohill from Conoco for the
Hey, Mike.
Shingle Mill, both NOIs. We'd like to continue the main project because we have an upcoming site visit on Friday with DEP that in part answers some of the commission's questions. So we're not prepared to discuss anything further this evening. So we'd like to continue that to your July meeting.
Okay, so the project itself is going to be continued until the July 13th meeting. And I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. So there's a site walk on Friday. I forget the time. I think it's
9.
9 at 9 a.m. to, I believe, to discuss the streams on site and how they impact the water department and the Zone A issue.
Right.
Maybe Mike or Marty, can you just clarify that for the board? If the board wants to come, I'm going, so.
Sure. Marty, you want me to do it?
Yeah, I don't know anything other than what you've told us in the email, Mike, so probably.
Okay. So the Zone A on the site is determined by where the streams are on the site and whether or not there is continuity of those streams, continuous flow from the site downstream to the reservoir. And it's a jurisdictional call from the department under the Water Management Act. And so Richard Friend from the Department of Environmental Protection is coming out on Friday to take a look at the site. He's already been down by the reservoir and determined that there are connections from surface water systems to the reservoir. Now the question is, does that surface water system continue from the site all the way down to the reservoir? And so Richard is coming out on Friday to walk it and to make that determination as to whether or not it's a continuous system or if there are breaks in the system that would change where the Zone A is mapped. So that's what's happening on Friday with Richard.
Okay. So for any of the board members, I know it's a little bit late notice, it being Tuesday, but for any of the board members, if you want to attend, I know Marty's attending. Marty, you're attending, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I know Marty's attending, I'm attending. If any of the board members want to go, it's, it's open for any of the board members. So you guys can make that determination on your own. How much walking is it, Mike? think?
Quite a bit, and a lot of it is pretty deep. It's a flooded red maple swamp. So, I'm sure that some of the folks are going to be out there in waders and, the rest of us will be stomping around in boots. It's a lot of walking on the site and then off the site going downstream.
Okay. Marty, are you going to be prepared for that? Is that okay with you?
Well, I'm going to have muck boots on for sure. And then Tyler from my office is coming and
Good.
He's going to bring waders. But my question to Mike Toohill is, if the site is flooded, why would you need to wade through the flooded area? Because you can't really see any defined channels if it's flooded.
Well, the site is not that flooded anymore. That's part of the reason is we were out there, we've been out there several times looking for the stream channels, and we were able to wade through most of that red maple swamp. There's, what I see is a braided system back in there, but I've had other people out there and they have found breaks in the system. So it's really, we have to get the department to weigh in on whether or not it's a continuous or a broken system. And I'm just going to be out there in field boots, and if I get wet, I get wet.
Yeah, okay. So I know that earlier this spring, the entire wetland was flooded and you
was
waders, but so muck boots should be enough. But anyways.
Okay. So for anybody on the board, kind of keep that in mind if you want to attend. It might be some interesting walking. Marty will be there to represent us anyway. So I'm sure that gives you some comfort, but if you want to attend, it's fine. Maybe we can avoid, not having to walk the whole site. I don't know exactly how we would do that, but, so just so everybody knows, Friday, 9 a.m. And this is only for the Conservation Commission board members and the applicant.
Right.
Okay, so the Shingle Mill project itself, the notice of intent has been continued to July 13th. Now we'll move on to the 48-hour pump test, which I believe the hearing has been closed,
Yes.
Yes.
correct? So there'll be no further comment on this notice of intent, except for the board deliberating over the order of conditions, which Marty has already prepared. I have 2 copies here in front of me. Marty, can you, I mean, this is pretty extensive, but can you touch on the finer points for the board? I mean, I would really like to get this done,
Yep.
and just move on. I mean, it's a test. It's gonna, you know where I'm
Right.
going with that.
Yep.
Doug, do you want me
yep.
to try to share my screen?
Yes, please.
Yeah, if you do that, we can just go paragraph by paragraph. And I think the main focus should be the appendix B at the very end.
I'm sorry to have you do that, Marty. It's just, you're a better presenter than I am. I'm just,
That's fine. If
Marty,
Carrie,
it's a 0 Pond Street, the PDF that you sent me.
yes.
Okay, hold on.
I have a copy in front of me if anybody wants to see.
And I
Now
think
this
while Carrie's sharing a screen,
You
There we
see
go.
it?
so, yeah.
Yep.
So probably go to the end to the special conditions where the findings are. So going back to the hearing, the discussion was that, the gist of the special conditions in the order was to make sure that the commission was protected for any other notices of intents that are filed on this particular site. Because this decision would set some legal parameters. So that was the goal behind the findings of fact and the special conditions. So the first paragraph just, talks about the notice of intent that was filed, and that Mike Toohill of Conoco allowed the commission to go beyond the 21 days to issue the order once the hearing was closed. And then these are the applicant's submittals on with the NOI, and then talks about defines the parcel of land and describes it in the resource areas that are on the site, BVW bank, bordering land subject to flooding, 100-year floodplain, vernal pool, certified vernal pool in the buffer zone. And then talks about, can you go back up one?
Right there. That's where we're at.
Yeah, so the resource areas listed above shall not be construed or otherwise interpreted as a legally binding list of approved boundaries. So, if there are any other resource areas that were not identified during this particular notice of intent proceeding, doesn't mean they're not there. And then, let's see, this order does not preclude the Rockland Conservation Commission's ability to review and dispute the resource and critical areas present at the site through the proceedings associated with the other application filings, including but not limited to the presence of streams as defined in the Acton bylaw in their bank boundaries, the perennial versus intermittent status of the streams, the extent of the zone A at the site based on engineering calculations. Actually, I might change that and strike that based on engineering calculations, because that's not actually right. In the presence of the boundaries of the vernal pool as defined by the act and the bylaw. The exception to this finding is the boundary of BBW, which was approved by an ORAD. And then talks about the site's largely mapped as Zone A and entirely mapped as Zone B. In addition, the entirety of the site's mapped as an outstanding resource water associated with public water supply. So continue down to the next page.
Keep going, right?
Yep, and you know what? I'm gonna have to check that DEP file number. Oh, that is the right file number.
Approved.
Yeah, so this is the work that's approved by the commission, resulting in minor BBW, vernal pool, and BLSF resource areas, and we identified that in the actual form, how much. No new structures are proposed. And we state that the project is subject to the Mass stormwater management standards and have been reviewed as such. And then keep going down to some, the bold, these are your normal special conditions. And then prior to pump tests. On-site pre-construction, that's your typical special condition.
Mhm.
Keep going. Oh, it's like the staff gauges, piezometers shall be installed in a way that does not result in clearing of BVW. Alteration of any vegetation within BVW is prohibited. And we talked about that in the hearing. They're going to do everything by hand, so there shouldn't be any really any clearing required. And that they'll be installed by hand methods only. And then during the pump test, the commission will be able to, let's see. Well, the contractor and any persons involved in the activity that is subject to this order shall notify the commission or agents immediately upon discovery of any matter related to the order that may affect any area within the jurisdiction of the commission, including discovery, oil, or hazardous materials. Commission reserves the right to impose additional special conditions as needed to protect the interests of resource areas at the site. Any debris that falls into the well and shall be removed by hand, you know, things like that. Keep going.
No vehicle, no machinery,
Yeah.
no refueling.
Yep. Time of year restriction, pump test shall not occur between February 15th and June 1st. We talked about that. That's because of the breeding, vernal pool breeding season.
Post-pump tests.
Yeah, continuing. There was one, section B, I can. Continuing conditions. So really nothing really, you know, anything that's a surprise in this draft order. The applicant did have an opportunity to review the draft order today. They asked that the commission provide them a courtesy copy so that they could take a look at it. And they did come back with a couple of items that they would like the commission to consider. One was section B, item 6. So go up to B, item 6. I missed that.
Shall provide the analytical results
Right.
of groundwater testing.
Right. They
And we
recommend that the condition be moved to section G, item 1D. That is, the analytical results should be submitted with a pump test report. I think that, you know, I thought about this today, and I think that given, if they should find something in their sampling of the groundwater that would require notification to DEP, they would legally have to notify DEP, and that would be public record. So moving it would really give them an opportunity to deal with something like that under 21E regulations. So I think that might be, it's a reasonable request by them.
Doesn't it have to be reported within a
It
certain amount
would,
of
there's
time anyway?
certain, yep, within a certain amount, yes. So I think that's a reasonable request for the commission to consider. And then also, they stated that in the hearing, the commission agreed that the pump test project was not subject to stormwater regulations and standards. And my recollection of that discussion was that, you know, it was Beta's opinion that the project still was subject to stormwater regulations and standards. However, in this case, their project met the spirit of what the standards required for a project like this, which is really erosion control instead
Wasn't it just a matter of filling out the checklist, Marty, or something?
Yes, and then the commission just agree that we didn't need the checklist.
Okay,
So, I would keep the statement that the project's subject to the stormwater regulations and standards and check that box, but, you know, not require that they file, you know, the commission is not going to require that they file the stormwater report and the checklist. I don't see really any problem for the applicant, for the commission to state this in the order. So I don't really understand why they is making this an issue.
so at this point, Marty, as the hearing's closed, can we ask for clarification from the applicant on the reason they would like that removed, or is that?
Yeah, you
not-
can.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Mike, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to give us clarification on the reason that you would like that particular item moved. I think the previous item's a moot point. I don't think we have a problem with moving that to section G. But maybe you can clarify what Marty just discussed for us.
Okay. The primary point is that stormwater results from precipitation or snow melt. And this pump test is neither of those two. And in the DEP stormwater standards, you have to meet that standard first, that it's actually stormwater before you go down into the level where whether or not it's a project that needs the stormwater. So if it's not stormwater, it de facto doesn't need the stormwater checklist. It doesn't need the stormwater report or any of that. Our primary issue is that because it's not stormwater and the order of conditions is written saying it is, and we haven't provided some of the things that are required under stormwater because it's not stormwater, this becomes appealable. And we just want to stay away from that because we've met, as Marty said, we've met all the requirements for best management practices, erosion control. And so to check off that it is stormwater just opens up an avenue that we don't think really needs to be opened up. And the commission isn't gaining anything by that. And the applicant is gaining the possibility of an appeal through that. And so if we just say it's not stormwater and we've provided all of the protection that's required, we've got both of us covered.
Marty?
I mean, it's definitely, you know, a strategic, you know, move on their part, for sure. And now, you know, now everyone's heard that. So, so I guess, you know, if the commission checks off the box that it's not subject to stormwater, that's appealable by someone. So I think
Everything
now
is.
so, you know, and I think in both cases, I'm sure, I mean, in both cases, DEP would, I mean, we don't want, I mean, obviously the commission doesn't want this appealed. That would be.
The biggest problem I have is that it doesn't meet the criteria as being stormwater. And so we're being subject to criteria and regulations that just don't apply to this discharge. And the department has even said that to the commission. And the commission last time, Mr. Chairman, you said, I don't know why this is coming up. I don't think it's stormwater. You said that in the hearing.
I think, Mr. Chairman, the DEP wrote that email and wasn't clear to me in that email what they were really.
Well, we didn't even know where that email originated from at the time. It just kind of showed up and, you know, we didn't know that the applicant had actually asked for clarification on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds to me like it's gonna be, it may be an issue either way. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I'm one vote. I mean, I don't have a problem with removing that wording at this point. Just, I just, I mean, maybe I'm being too basic, but isn't this just a pump test?
It is.
I mean, the applicant has stated clearly, and Marty has done her due diligence to make sure that the board is completely protected on the fact that this NOI is not in any way, shape, or form going to affect the other NOI.
That's right.
Which I believe in our last meeting, we clarified that with Michael, that one would not affect the other, and that was in, a public forum. So that's, that's recorded in within the minutes.
Correct.
This seems like a sticking point that doesn't need to be a sticking point. That's my opinion. I'm certainly not going against what Marty's saying, and I just, that's my opinion. Ron, do you have an opinion?
He's just talking about the pump test anyways. Nothing
Well, I mean, maybe we should air that out. I think that's maybe something that the board should air out at this point. And we can ask Marty's opinion, even though the hearing's closed. Marty, a decision on this pump test, am I making this too basic and asking the question that this is just a test, and after the test is done, whatever the results are, it still remains a test? I mean, is there any risk for the commission or the town at this point? Or am I not seeing far enough into this?
Well, I mean, the problem is the stormwater regulations don't define projects like this very well. And so I guess the erosion control that's being, mitigated by the applicant is when, they're going to be withdrawing groundwater, pumping groundwater, and they're going to be discharging it to an upland area. But it's going to be controlled so that it doesn't cause erosion into the wetland. So they've got that
Covered.
system set up and covered. So I mean, so there is runoff. It's groundwater running across the ground that they're controlling, so it doesn't adversely impact the resource areas. So that's one of the standards. I think it's 8, erosion sediment control. So that's really where the whole stormwater standards and regs come into play. And like I mentioned, the notice of intent under that section has 3 types of projects that are not subject to the stormwater standards and regulation. And this isn't one of them. So you maybe have to do a deeper dive into the actual handbook to find out. But I mean, other projects that I've reviewed and, they've been subject to the stormwater regs and standards. But commissions have waived the requirement to submit the stormwater report and checklist because it didn't make any sense, like this one. So I don't think there's going to be it's a big deal to say the project's not subject to the stormwater standards. I don't think you're setting a precedent here. Of course, every project's, reviewed on its own merits.
Correct.
So
Correct.
It's up to the commission. I'm not. And again, it's.
Well, we rely extremely heavily on your opinion because that's the reason that, we have you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with saying that at this point. I mean, let's get this test done and see what the results are. Virginia, Lorraine, I haven't heard from you guys. You guys have an opinion here? Or, Charlene, you guys know what I meant.
Yeah. I would say that if Marty says that this is not subject to the stormwater standards, as this is set up as a test NOI, But when and if we come to the NOI that has to do with building this project, that the stormwater standards would then be applicable, that they cannot hide behind our taking it off the stormwater standards requirement.
No, Marty, that's not a potential here, is it?
No,
No.
No.
Okay, I mean, Charlene, thank you for pointing
Yes.
that out, but I mean, I would find that as not something that could potentially be done, but I'm glad
But
you brought that up.
You have to get it out in public and
No.
it has to be said and everybody has to hear it so that there's no questions later on. And I don't have to come after anybody.
Well, like I said, I'm glad you brought it up. How's that sound?
Good.
Okay, Lorraine?
I'm good either way. I mean, Marty wrote up the orders and I believe that she knows best what she's doing. So if she wants to leave them, if she thinks that we should leave that in there, then that's fine with me. But if it's gonna not really affect the rest of the project, then maybe it can be removed.
well, how about if we do this, we can say is subject and then say the commission waived the requirements for the checklist in the report, stormwater report.
I would.
Michael, you all right with that?
I would agree with that.
Michael, you all right with that?
It's not subject to it. It's
Well,
not stormwater.
Well, I mean, we're waiving it, is that?
I-
Come on. This doesn't need to be a negotiation. We just want to get this done.
No, I appreciate that. And, you know, the main project is subject to stormwater standards and stormwater report has been submitted and is probably going to be revised and resubmitted. So there's no danger that the main project is going to escape the stormwater standards. It can't because it is subject.
At this point, I'd like a motion from somebody on the board to take out the fact that there's wording in there that says this is subject to the stormwater standards. We don't need to stick to this all night. It's not going to make any difference. Motion from somebody. Ron motions. Can I get a second? Apparently I can't. I only have Lorraine and Virginia. I mean, Lorraine and Charlene. Because Virginia's abstained.
Who made the motion? Ron?
Ron made the motion. I need a second to take out the
Second.
fact that it's not subject to the stormwater
Second.
regulation. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Marty, can you remove that from the orders? Please?
Will do, yep.
And can you take
So
that,
it'll be removed from the special conditions and also in the form.
and can you take number 6 and move it to section G?
Yes.
Okay. I think besides that, that's all the outstanding. So we're taking in section B, number 6, we're moving to section G,
So,
wherever you want to put it in there, maybe number 2, who knows? I mean, there's one A, B, C, D, and then, you know, as long as it's in there, that's all that really matters at this point. Other than that, does the board have any other questions, changes to the orders? There's no questions on the project. Good?
Good.
Okay, so with the changes discussed by the board, motion to issue the order of conditions for the 48-hour pump test for the shingle mill project.
Yes.
Ron made a motion. Can I get a second? Lorraine,
Second.
Charlene,
Yeah,
somebody, all right.
I did.
All in favor?
Okay.
Okay, unanimous vote. And just to remind everybody that Virginia has abstained from this hearing. Okay, Marty will get us a revised copy of the order of conditions at her convenience. And she'll send them to me and I'll sign them representing the board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yep, Friday is 9 AM. We're going to meet at Wilson Street. There's some limited parking there, so you can also park at the end of Colby, I think it is.
Would you like me to
if-
bring the orders to that meeting sign? Would that be easier?
That would be great.
Nobody on the board has an issue with that, right? Okay, I will bring the orders to that meeting sign and hand deliver them to the applicant. Fair
Thank you.
enough?
Sounds good.
Okay, so I guess we'll see you on Friday morning.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Well, there's nothing to move on to. Great. The minutes, we will handle in our next hearing. Charlene and Lorraine, the minutes is probably mostly my fault because I believe I dropped that stuff off to you guys the last time and obviously I didn't do it this time. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I will drop this stuff off to you on the 12th of July. Fair enough?
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
If I can get them to you earlier, I will, but I will have them to you on the 12th so we can sum up the minutes.
Even better.
Okay?
Mhm.
Okay. Secretary, do we have any bills or anything to pay?
Do you want to talk about, do you have any update for the rink?
Well, I'm just going down the same order that you wrote the agenda.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I do.
Okay, so why don't you gather those together and we can go over those in a minute. There is a Moynihan rink update. Marty, can you just give us a brief
Yeah.
synopsis of that update?
Yep, I provided an inspection report on our June 1st inspection, which was right, I think it was the Tuesday after Memorial Day weekend and all the rain.
Yep.
And yeah, and I'm looking in the report and it's reported that you only got 0.84 inches of rain. Maybe that was just on Memorial Day. You must have got more than that over the weekend.
We got way more than that.
Yeah, okay. So that must have been just on Monday. But anyways, so they've continued, they conducted the clearing of vegetation, trees across the wetland crossing. They were in the process of stumping it when we were out there. All the erosion controls and internal exclusion fencing that we inspected was up and functioning and in good shape. There was no sediment migration beyond the erosion controls that we could see. The water was clear. So the site looked good. We did rescue quite a bit of wildlife from inside the fence and put it on the outside of the fence. Snakes and birds and a wood frog. So we did, as we inspected the fence, we did move some stuff to safety. And our conclusions really is to continue monitoring and that several of the stumps they're going to remove are near the erosion controls. So once they remove those erosion controls, they really need to, probably repair some of the erosion controls. I'm sure they will. And then just continue monitoring. And then also LEC provided an email to me this past week. I haven't really looked at it closely, but the gist of it was they met with Natural Heritage and they were discussing the turtle crossings and they revised the design of the turtle crossings in the upland areas, but they did not change them in the wetland crossing. So I'm going to look at that a little bit closer. Probably won't have any issue with that. One of your special conditions was that the project adhere to Natural Heritage, compliance with their conservation and management permit. So it was like they've been in contact with them and they're dealing with them. So probably won't have any recommendations for the commission to do anything at this point, other than maybe accept the plans into the record as a field change. But that I'll do that for the next hearing.
Okay. Board have any questions on the update for the rate? Lorraine, Charlene?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Moving on. As far as the bills, because the board doesn't have the bills in front of them. Carrie, do you want to go over them with the board quickly, or that way there? I can't sign the secretary's bill, obviously. Everybody knows that. So we'll have to get that to Charlene for her to sign. Other than that, we're good.
I have
Does the board-
something for you.
Okay, well, hold on one second. Does the board want to see the bills on the screen? Or actually, let me ask, can we put the bills on the screen? So it doesn't require an answer. There we go.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute, my thing was stuck. I can't. I don't have them in the format to get them onto the screen, but I have 5 invoices for Beta to submit.
Okay, so they're all Marty's bills.
Yeah,
Okay. Motion to pay the bills for Beta Group.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Okay. Those bills I'll sign. The secretary's bill, you guys can vote on that, and I'll get that to Charlene to sign. Charlene, you want to take it from here?
And the secretary's bill.
Second,
In favor? I
Yeah.
can't say that, but
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Okay,
Man.
all right. Lorraine, you had something?
yes, I was wondering if one of the neighbors up on Forest Street had contacted you regarding the Kathy Corrigan property. They've been doing some landscaping and grading and whatever out there, and I
Tree removal.
don't believe they were supposed to be over near, they haven't come before us that I know about. They weren't supposed to go anywhere near that right side of the building if you're facing the building. But they've been grading and digging and taking down trees and shrubs and whatever, and I don't think anybody has been overseeing it.
Somebody did mention that to me. I did go up to the site and I talked to Mr. Tazanari, and he has not gone any further than what was previously there. I don't know what anybody else is seeing, but he has not gone any further than what was previously there. As far as the front area, that's a curb cut that was approved by the highway superintendent. They're gonna do a circular drive instead of having one big entrance. Does that clarify, or do we need to have Mr.
Well,
Tazanari to a meeting?
Shouldn't they have come before us if they were gonna do any work over in that area?
That's up to the board.
As I know, they took the fence down and all that. From the fence.
I mean, the work they've done is in the parking lot.
Yeah. They took the chain link fence down.
I mean, is there work there that I have not seen?
I'm just going by what I've seen driving by, and it's over on the right side of the building, and Charlene and I were gonna go walk up and take a look at it, but we haven't gotten to that yet. It's been too hot.
So if you guys take a look at it and you want the building owner to apply for a permit, that's perfectly okay with the rest of the board, I would assume. I mean, from what I saw, he's gone no further than what was pre-existing. So that's the reason I didn't require him to file something with the board. He hasn't changed any grades, but that's what I saw. If you guys are seeing something different, we'll just let them know.
Well, we haven't gone up there yet, so we'll take a walk up.
Okay, so when you take a walk up, we'll go from there.
All righty.
Fair enough?
Yeah, he bought the building. So
Tazanari bought the Kathy Corrigan's building, yes. Yeah. Okay, does anybody else on the board have anything else?
No.
Okay, Lorraine, Charlene, you guys have anything else?
Nope.
No.
Okay, well, I guess that's a wrap.
Hey, Doug.
Yo,
I
Will
have a
our,
question.
oh, sorry, will our
Please, Doug.
next meeting be Zoom or in person, or we don't know that yet? Oh, sorry.
ooh, that's an interesting point.
That was my question.
Reading your mind.
Is Marty still on? Or did she hang up?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Do we have to go back to the town hall, I'm assuming?
My understanding is after June 15th, things would go back live. But there's legislation that's being looked at to allow towns to decide on their own if they're going to be still virtual or live. But I have not heard that that legislation's been passed yet. So after June 15th,
You have to have live
it's
meetings.
have to go back live. Yeah,
So-
that's my understanding. That's what I'm hearing.
So we'll, as of for this hearing, we'll leave this as the next hearing will be live at the town hall.
Yeah.
And if something changes between now and when that agenda is posted, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah, just a question. Who would make that decision at town hall? Is that the legal team?
I think it's gonna be, if there's legislation to allow the Zoom meetings to continue, I think it's gonna be on a board by board basis. It'll be
Okay.
whatever the board decides. I mean, I guess the town administrator may, may make a ruling on how he wants the boards to, proceed. But I'm gonna assume that if this does happen, that they allow the Zoom meetings to continue, I'm assuming the town administrator will allow the boards to make that decision on their own.
Great, thank you.
If
Thank you. Can I send you an email, Mr. Glenn?
You can.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Can't do both. Because they've got a big screen in the conference room and you could always dial in. People could dial into that screen and view the meeting.
We could certainly do both. That's actually what I was kind of pushing for the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That they,
that's
that
being,
the,
yes, that's
that the
being
board
talked about.
members, the board members go to the town hall
Right.
and the applicant and, the other people, including Marty, could probably Zoom in. She doesn't need to make the trip from wherever she's at. And this is just as good. I mean, it's more the board members being in the same room and looking at each other and be able to discuss things.
Nice to see Marty in the same room too, though.
Well,
But it's not necessary, but it would be nice, Marty.
I mean, we
I
always
know,
wanna
I know.
see- I mean, we
Yes.
always want to see Marty's smiling face, of course.
But
But,
it's nicer in person.
but if we have the Zoom, but if we have the Zoom opportunity and she doesn't
It's
want to
away.
make the trip,
Yeah, it's true. It's
then,
true.
then we'll take advantage of that and she'll be able to Zoom in. Because I think that her portion of what we're doing is almost just as good as in person because, she's on top of everything for us. So, she can make that decision on her own. As long as it's a Zoom meeting, if she wants to come, she can come. If she wants to Zoom, she can Zoom.
We were doing that 15 years ago in work, having conference meetings.
I know, I mean, the only push I ever had was the board be in the same room. That's the only push I ever had. So the board members could look at each other and actually, have a discussion.
See the plans.
But anyway, I mean, I don't want to go back to town hall either, to be honest with you. I mean, we kind of have this thing nailed now and now it's over with. That's just great. Perfect. But anyway,
'Cause-
um,
And don't forget, we might have so many people in there that we'd have to actually go to Fenway Park to have some of these meetings on some of these projects coming up.
not sure if Fenway Park's gonna loan the little town of Rockland their time, but anyway, you never know. You never know. Okay, so Lorraine, Charlene, you will look at the old Kathy Corrigan's building within the next month. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as I'm concerned, that's it. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So move, second.
Okay. Everybody have a good night. Thank
I'll
you.
see you all in July.
All right, Marty.
Bye-bye.
Marty's gonna be zooming in. I know she is.
No, not in July, maybe December, but not July.